to thee, Lord, my blessed Savior, I surrender. Surrender all. Ooh, I surrender all to thee. You get all of me, breakthrough is near, breakthrough is here, coming to set you free, bringing you liberty. Loose the chains that bind, bring you joy and peace of mind. It's divine destiny, that breakthrough is here for me. Breakthrough is near. Oh, breakthrough is here. Coming to set you free. Coming to set you free. Bringing you liberty. Loose the chains that bind. That brings you joy. It's divine destiny. That breakthrough is here for me. Come on and say it, pray. Lift your voice out of your heart, you say it. From your faith, do you see it? Here comes the loose the chains and bind. Bring to joy unspeakable. It's divine destiny. Breakthrough. Oh, breakthrough is here. Coming to set you free. Coming to set you free. No more chains holding me. Bringing you liberty. Loose the chains and bind. Brings you joy. Bring you joy and peace of mind. Divine destiny. Breakthrough is here for me. Oh, can you help me say it? Oh, from your spirit you want to say it. No matter what the devil try to say, you got to say, hey, come on everybody help me say it. Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
It is now time for the live broadcast of the NAACP with Gwinnett, Westbrook, and Mr. Dumas.
And good evening, and welcome to another segment of the NAACP Truth Show. I'm Willie Dumas, your host. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Of course, we got some bad weather on yesterday. I thought we are going to have a little slight tornado here, some very severe thunderstorms. So I hope you are okay. A lot of people lost power. I hope your power's back on. Uh, Matter of fact, the 911 emergency system in Forsyth was totally out of power. And so there were alternate numbers people had to call if they had an emergency. And so, with all this hot weather we're having today, it's almost welcome after all of that wind and thunder and lightning from yesterday. A lot's been going on. I hope you haven't been hiding under a rock here in the city of Macon and in the state of Georgia with all the different events that took place this weekend. One in particular had to do with a demonstration from some neo Nazis here in Macon and Warner Robins area, as well as up in Cobb County. And so we do hope, you weren't under a rock, didn't have your head under a rock, and that you were very much aware of what's been happening here of late. And so we're going to talk about some of those things today here on our show, as well as some other interesting information. President Westbrooks has joined us, and so we'll get right into our discussion. How you doing this evening, President
I'm
Westbrooks?
doing good, just busy as ever.
Absolutely. Our work never ceases, does it?
It does not.
There's always something to do or something to take an interest in as it relates to criminal justice, as well as rights being violated, equal opportunities, all of those types of things that we support, in this organization.
Right.
So, what do you think, President Westbrook, about the neo-Nazi rally outside of Georgia synagogues that was reported? Governor Brian Kemp made a statement, of course, condemning
Yes.
those actions, and of course, we condemn those actions as well. Um,
Yes, we do. And I think I saw it on television. I was not I was here Saturday, but it just kind of came up. It
right,
wasn't something that was planned, 'cause otherwise we probably would I know that we would have been there if we had been planned to
exactly.
support the Jewish community, but it was something that just this came up. It started in Warner Robins, actually. It
Wow.
started in Warner Robins, and then they came to Macon. And so, of course, as you said, we denounce any type of hateful
Hate.
hatred
Yes.
expressed toward any individual or group of people. We did issue a we did issue a statement today um, regarding and I'm trying to find it.
Yeah. And while you're finding that statement, of course, you know, in our community, we've got to really pay attention. There are a lot of things happening politically all across the United States, as well as here in the state of Georgia. And here in our local community, when things of this nature trickle down to local communities, uh, we have to keep our ears to the ground, if you would,
Right,
to
right.
to make certain that we're not caught off guard with a lot of the antics that these groups tend to bring, um, particular hatred. Because we had a discussion about hatred not long ago,
Yeah.
and the effects of it, particularly with African Americans, but hatred now has crossed so many ethnic groups.
Right.
It was the Asians for a while. We remember the situation at Atlanta. I think it was a massage parlor or something,
Right. Right.
where the gentleman came in and you know assaulted those people, and so hate spreads. It spreads really far, and hatred for any race is hatred to all races, and so we have
Right.
to be have to be vigilant with that.
Hello, Mr. Ricky Crawford. Is it hello, Mr.
Hello,
Crawford?
Mr. Crawford. Thank you for tuning in and listening in.
Yeah. That has been an issue, and for some reason, um, it's been on the rise.
Here,
Really
Lee,
since the insurrection at the
at the Capitol.
Capitol, it's been on the rise, and so people are just expressing, hatred and toward individuals in different groups. But I want to until I can find this. But we did issue a statement today in reference to in support of the Jewish community.
Absolutely.
Um, one of actually Houston County, like I said, started in Houston County. The president there has already issued a statement, um, and he actually texted me some information or hate um, literature that was actually
Oh,
put in
pamphlets
people,
that were
right,
passed
was
out.
actually passed out,
Wow.
put in people yards and different things like that. He sent me a copy of that. So um, a lot of that was being done also. Um, this is the thing that but well, I'm just so grateful to Sheriff Davis. Sheriff Davis locked the leader up. He was arrested, and so because it could have got out of hand.
Absolutely.
It could have got out of hand, and I'm just so grateful that he was there. This is the statement that we issued. Um, the Macon Bill NACP reiterates its strong statement affirming that anti. Let me let you read, Mr. Dumas. My
Okay.
throat
Let's
is
see.
getting.
I got you. Let's see.
I'm having some issues today with my
The Georgia
allergy.
NAACP reiterates the strong statement affirming that anti-Semitism has no place in Georgia. It is crucial to all residents of Georgia to, let's
I
see,
can't hardly see
to
it.
reject anti-Semitism regardless of where it manifests. The recent incidents that occurred over the weekend in Marietta, Macon, and Warner Robins stands in direct opposition to the core principles of our
Cool.
state. Um, we wholeheartedly condemn the offensive words and actions, forgetting Jewish, let's see, okay, forgetting Jewish individuals in our community. The Georgia NAACP remains steadfast in the opposition to all forms of hatred within our state. And that comes from State President Gerald Griggs.
Right. So
Um,
that came from as a state, and we also issued a statement. This same statement here from the Macon Bill
right.
NAACP. It's so Lee, I can't hardly read it. I can't.
Yeah, my eyes get worse the older I
My
get.
glasses are in my purse, but it would took me a minute to get it. But like I said, we do denounce any type of hatred toward any type of group. We issued that statement, and we will be hopefully, Rabbi
Right,
is a life
Schlesinger.
member of the NAACP, Macon Bibb
Absolutely.
NAACP. So whether or not he was a life member or not, we will be supporting him. Hello, Patrick Davis, Wade Horton. I see Maria Bryant.
Absolutely.
Also, thank you all for tuning in.
We have a
So,
caller
okay.
that's calling in. If you can hear us, go ahead, caller.
Yes, I'd like to get in on that conversation if I can. Reverend Jefferson Lockett, Sr.
Okay.
Hello, Reverend Lockett.
Yes, I think y'all done a great work.
Thank
And
you.
don't stop. Stay on the wall.
Thank you.
When I got to having breakfast this morning at the Pruitt East Nursing Home, one young lady said, Lockett, Because if you can't put a Mr. onto my name, a Reverend, don't say nothing to me at all.
Absolutely.
I'm 9 years old, and
Thank
she's
you.
60.
Thank you for calling in, and thank you so much.
Yes, sir. We
You
felt
always have my prayers, and you will have my financial support as well.
well. We
Thank you
certainly
so much.
appreciate that. We certainly
Thank
do.
you.
Nehemiah, when he was rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem, they want him to come down.
That's right.
I can't come down.
That's right. That was Tobias and Sunblast that wanted him to come down. I
Right.
I actually taught that lesson for Vacation Bible School.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for your support,
Oh,
Reverend Lockett.
oh,
Thank you.
all right. I think he's hung up
Thank you.
already.
Okay. So, Mr. Dooms, I want to talk about this right quick before we get too far in the
Okay.
program, because this is something that's going to be coming up this week. Um, the NAACP will be having a meeting at Faith First Church. It's located at 3361 Rice Mill Road, Macon, Georgia. And I'm going to kind of give you a location. If you're not familiar with Rice Mill Road, it's the street that runs behind Dairy Queen on Pine Owner.
On Pine Owner.
And so it's some apartment complexes there, Linkwood Apartments. You actually have to go up in those apartments, and the church is sitting in the right to actually get to in the church's parking lot. But we're going to be holding a meeting there this week, this Wednesday. And when we scheduled this meeting, the pastor kind of changed some things around. I didn't realize that's my birthday, but we're going to go head on with this meeting. I have to do whatever I'm going to do after the meeting. So, but we're going to be having a meeting there, and we're going to be, we've invited code enforcement. We've invited the fire prevention. We've invited, still trying to get a hold of the Georgia Legal Services. Been calling them since last week. We're going to also invited the property managers, the property owners. We've invited them. So we're going to be having a meeting talking about the housing conditions,
Absolutely.
not able to get repairs done to housing. There are going to be several, it's going to be opened up to the public, but some of the, we do know that some of the housing issues there in the Linkwood apartment that is right there by the church, mostly people that are disabled or people that are elderly lives in those apartments, and not being able to get repairs done has been a struggle.
Wow.
So it's very important that we get the message out to the community, because people need to know their rights.
They do.
People
really
are
do.
paying rent, and they're not getting repairs, and I just couldn't understand why. I went to some apartments last week, and it was just, is one guy that was there that was disabled. His stove, the socket from his stove caught a fire.
Wow.
They replaced the stove, but you can just see where the fire smoke damage and everything in the back of the stove on the walls. But he has lived in his apartment since August of last year, and they did not move him. Now, if you're paying your rent and you have smoke damage in your apartment, that person should have been moved out of that
Absolutely.
apartment and put in a hotel somewhere. But he's had to stay in that apartment. He's actually not trying to move, but he's lived in that apartment since last August with this smoke, inhaling smoke and all that different stuff. But they came out and had the insurance adjuster come out to look at the apartment so they can get paid for it. But you have this man paying his rent, and you haven't even tried to accommodate him or fix his apartment or paint it or whatever. So, and then, these particular apartment complexes, they have such a large turnover with management. You can't, I can remember, I have a brother that lives out there, and, I drove around to 4 different apartment complexes trying to pay his rent.
Wow.
But it's open to the public because we know that there's an issue with repairs, especially issues that concern safety.
Right.
I went in another apartment last week, and I'm trying to help him get his food replaced because he had just bought groceries. The socket from the wall caught a fire. They've had his refrigerator sitting in the middle of the floor. And
Wow.
so we're talking about safety issues where we're talking about fires. You can't, the apartments are overloaded. Um, you can't run the air conditioner and the stove at the same time because it kicks the breaker. So,
Wow.
it's those are fire hazards. And so, you
And
know,
what are the managers saying in regard to a lot of these complaints?
well, this is the thing, Mr. Dumas. When you at this, they have these owners have different. A lot of these owners they own different apartments in Macon, and we got to hold them accountable now. Ms. Atside was arrested
Right.
last week before last. He had to stay in jail 7 days, and so, you know, we want to make sure that people are held. Make sure they don't live in Macon, but they own property here in Macon. They need to be held accountable. You have code enforcement have already been out to some of these apartment complexes because I actually went out to this particular owner. I know he owns Linkwood. He owns uh, Westbrook Apartments, Cobble Hill Apartments, and another apartments down on Chambers Road. Um, those set of apartments, but they have such a large turnover with
The managers or
property managers and the people that manage the property that actually take the money and all of that. They have such a large turnover. They can't keep anybody. So when you have, and what I'm being told is once you have, good afternoon, Bradley James. Good afternoon.
good afternoon.
I'm being told that once the property management comes in, and for example, this particular property management, they were brought in sometime in February. So any repairs that was put in before then, the previous management wipes the system
Wow.
out, and then you have to start all over again like you just putting in your repair.
Wow.
So any repairs that this company here, the tenants have not even been told that the property, the management has changed. And so what happens is there's going to be a new management coming in. This system is going to be wiped out. Any repairs that were put
Not
in and not
done.
completed, you got to start back all over. When this is, and it's not acceptable. That's the way it's done. It shouldn't be.
Right.
I'm seeing Carolyn Glover. It should not be like that. So this is why we're having this meeting, because people need to know their rights.
Exactly.
They need to be educated on what they need to do. And I tell anybody, I'm not giving out legal advice. This is just common sense. Do not verbally give your repairs to your property manager. You need to put it in writing so you can have a paper trail. We have, issues where landlords, in these apartments, they're very old. They're older apartments. No repairs been done. You got rent is being increased anywhere from $100 to $200. Tenants are not. They don't even know it. They've actually not even signed the lease, and their rent is going up. And so
many violations against.
And so you have issues where people are, this particular apartment complex. Good afternoon. Where they're actually, what they do is, everybody is not computer or smartphone illiterate.
Right.
Illiterate, I mean.
Right.
And so for you to say that we're no longer going to take rent, we're no longer going to take rent payments. You have to go online and create an account. Everybody does not have a smartphone. And like I said, this particular apartment complex, Linkwood, most people live out there are elderly or disabled people. They don't have access to a smartphone. A lot of them don't.
Right.
Even if they do, they don't know how to work it. They don't have to, and then you got to turn in your email address. A lot of those people don't even have an email address.
address.
So
right.
for you, I've addressed it, with management. Nobody has actually gotten back with me, and so that's why we're having this meeting. We got to accommodate. That's part of fair housing. You have to need to accommodate people that have disabilities. And
Right.
so for you to just say, well, we're not going to take any more rent, you got to go online to pay. You got to have some type of exception uh,
For those
for people who
with
can't
those
go online
disabilities.
to pay their rent. So there's a lot of issues that we're going to be discussing in this meeting, especially dealing with uh, evictions. That's why we want Georgia Legal Services there. People are being, they got, you got a company, you got a, you got a property manager, you got a management property that's actually managing the money part. Then you got another company that's sending out statements, and so people are getting statements saying you owe $1,000, I owe $2,000.
And they've already paid
They've already
because it hadn't
paid,
caught, the
and so
paper trail hadn't caught
so
up.
we don't know what's going on with that, but they're saying just disregard it. But send me something in writing saying that I need to disregard it. They coming up with money, saying people owe money they don't owe. This has been an issue, not just with this property, but we dealt with these issues with the Macon Housing Authority, with
Right.
issues like this where monies were saying uh, that people owed, and we're going to talk about that a different day and time because we got some issues there. One of the property managers there at the housing authority actually was resigned, but I'm seeing that she has a RICO charge in Houston County. So, there's some issues there. I'm going to be setting up a meeting with the Macon Housing Authority to look at that because she resigned for a reason.
Exactly.
And so, but we want people to come out to this meeting. If you have housing issues, whether it's money that they're saying that you owe,
Repairs.
repairs. We want you to be present at this meeting. Again, the address is at Faith First Church Methodist Church is at 3361 Rice Mill Road, Macon, Georgia 31206. That's going to be this Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Spread the message, and I'm here seeing Patrick Davis has put up the law that's giving us the law according to the Georgia law. Residential landlords have a duty to keep the rented premises in a safe and condition and good repair, and keeping rented premises in good repair. So the landlord has an obligation, habitable, safe and habitable conditions. They have an obligation, but a lot of times they don't. And let me tell you, code enforcement has been on the job. They have been on the job, and um, they have been able to, if you, what's happening is if you don't do what they say, you actually being fined.
Wow.
They're being fined. So we want them to come out. We've invited them. I think it's very crucial that they be there
Absolutely.
to this meeting. Also, we want to talk about the incident because I want to finish up from last week. Some of the things that we was talking about. Uh, the situation in Carroll County, and I don't know if any of you all may be aware of it, but in Carroll County, um, they had an academy, police academy that
Right.
was doing practicing their gun range shooting, and the NAACP has also in Carroll County has made a statement in reference to that, and I think they may be planning some type of rally there. But I think since then, the academy has apologized. But they have posted the academy posted pictures where they were doing the practicing the gun range shooting, and what they had black people as the target of
Wow.
their gun range shooting. They could have had a circle
Right. Just
target. Yeah, they didn't have to have black people as the target people as doing their shooting at. And so that the NAACP called them out on that. They since then have apologized, but it just sends a strong message of systemic racism.
it does.
And so why did you have to put black people as the target?
Right.
So that's something that the Carroll County NAACP, it was brought to my attention. It says that here, uh, police department apologized over the image of black man used as targets. So, yeah, that was in Carroll County, and Patrick Davis has put that up. But I want to finish up, and I know we don't have much time, but I want to talk about, because we was talking about last week, Mr. Dumas, about the probation,
Right.
probation, terms of the probation. And so, my phone don't even hang up. It's crazy. But what one of the things that we was talking about, and I want to find it here. One of the things that we were speaking on was a lot. I don't know if people are aware that uh, the governor passed a law, uh, and I'm looking at my. We actually had a meeting here. The governor passed a law back in 2021 that where probation can be terminated early.
Right.
And so I don't think that a lot of people are aware of that. It's actually it was Senate Bill 105.
Senate Bill 105.
Mm-hmm. And that bill was passed in 2001. And these are some of the conditions that has to happen. And ultimately, the judge makes the final decision. Makes the final decision. Uh, the judge makes the final decision as to
When it would be
when it
terminated.
be terminated. But these are some of the conditions, and a lot of probationers are not aware of this, and I'm sure they're not. And this is one of the reasons that I'm concerned, because we've had a few incidents where it seems like every time the probationer gets ready to go into another phase or move up, something happens and that push them back.
Wow.
And so we just want to make sure, because what people don't realize is this is what early termination of probation, Senate Bill 105. There are 4 conditions. You've served at least 3 years of your probation sentence. There's no new arrest since the beginning of your probation terms. Probation has not been revoked within 24 months. All court fees paid that are associated with the probation. So I'm seeing that Ricky Crawford says that this is being done by the judges a lot. So I don't know if people are aware of that, because to me, common sense, if you know that this law is out here, you would actually, when this law was passed, when I did my research, when this law was passed, 25% of the prison population was eligible for this
Senate Bill 105.
Senate Bill 105 to have your probation terminated. But ultimately, the judge has to make the final decision. And I asked the probation field director, how are they monitoring that to determine? He told me that it comes up in the system 60 days prior to the probation, them doing 3 years on probation. It comes up, and so they say they're monitoring it like that. But this is the kick. What happens? They saved over 30. They saying that this process saves over $38 million. Saves the state over $38 million a year by terminating probation terms early. Now, what happens is, and it keeps you from having to be supervised. These people are gonna lose their jobs.
Right, because they won't need as many.
They don't need as many probation officers.
Right.
So this could affect people's jobs if you need less probation. If there's something to thinking about, and I'm concerned, how are they handling this with this situation? Every time this probationer got ready to move up, my concern, are they keeping people on probation?
You're listening to the live broadcast of the NAACP.
Out of time. We'll see you next week.
And Mr. Dumas. Come join us next Monday at 4 o'clock p.m. on 980 WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.